This is the Medical Inventor Podcast, where you can learn about new technologies and research in healthcare that will impact human lives.
So this is the fourth episode of the Medical Inventor Podcast, and I'm really excited because today we have Slade Šilović. He's a very experienced IT healthcare guy, and that's where the biggest innovations are today. And we will start with Ivan introducing himself. So, how did you start your career? What is your education, and so on?
Oh, thank you so much. Marina and I have a long history working together on his medical startup project, so that's how we met. I have some 17-18 years of experience in informatic part in pharmaceutical companies and medical databases. Since more than 15 years ago, we started with informatization of radiology and hospitals department, and some softwares that we can call now artificial intelligence in healthcare, but on that time that name was still unknown, so we just starting to fill the databases with doctors' analysis and try to predict according to algorithm what they choose, what will be the possibility of next similar situation for the patient. So now we will call that as artificial intelligence in healthcare. Also after that we start with some developing software for pharmaceutical companies some 5 years ago, and now we're doing something what we calling like smart data-driven laboratories with special softwares that collect and analyze all the data for all the equipment. So that is basically my working experience. Also I finished a lot of faculties so far. So mechanical engineering and political sciences.
So you finished those faculties?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, I have a master from Rochester Institute of Technology in New York in innovations in healthcare.
In New York, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Finishing PhD in informatics, in theoretical informatics and securing the databases and informatic communication in healthcare. Executive MBA from operation management in healthcare, and now I start theology faculty.
Theology?
Yes.
How did you get from all these scientific, IT, data-driven, science-driven subjects to theology?
Well, one of the points is artificial intelligence. We still don't know what intelligence in human is, and I was searching for an answer because a lot of scientists searching for answer what is intelligent. I tried to find the answer in theology. Also, we start for it will be almost 10 years, but recently software can predict the illness, and we start with possibility of modification human software that is coded in our DNA. And then also we have the question...
Wait, I can you repeat that part? I didn't get it.
So the human software, what informatic people will call the human software, the rest of will call that is written in our DNA. So DNA is human software.
Okay.
And we are now possible not just to analyze it, but also to modify it. And there is now the question, moral and ethical question that is also theological part, what we can modify the human code. So several difficult questions in other fields I've found in theology.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting, because that's something that you can see often where you reach the end of human knowledge, and then you start searching for answers in theology.
In higher knowledge than human.
Yeah.
Yes, some of those answers are pretty good explained. So
this is a personal question, but are you do you have a religion or?
Yeah, well, most of us in Croatia are Catholic, so we believe in one God. But doesn't matter what church or religion said. There is some moral guidance that is in Bible about behaving of humans. Also, what we assume that is good and what we assume that is bad, and it's also written in Bible. And the questions what we can do with human life, that is also medical and ethical, what you study in medical school, and what we think that is ethical, it is actually what theology think it's good and what the religious people think is good. So when we started finding the law, what we can modify in human DNA, and we say, okay, we will just modify to prevent the illness or to save the people. So saving the people's life, that is good, but also that is what is moral and ethical, and that is good behaving of people. That is one of 10 postulates in Bible. And what we cannot modify, and probably that will be the future law in DNA modification, we cannot modify the imago Dei or image of God, what is how the God created the man. So probably the future law will say, okay, we can prevent the illness by modification of human code, but we cannot modify the human as a human the way the God imagined him during the creation. So,
okay, because that's true. It's kind of scary, but the technology today, the innovations, bring us to a point where we can become gods, basically. So we need to educate ourselves.
Of course, our technology today gives us opportunity to do a lot of things that wasn't possible yesterday. Still, we don't know what is intelligence, so it's very hard to say we are able to develop artificial intelligence. We still cannot make the life from non-living things, so we still don't have the answer what is life and how human is created.
We're not sure.
We are not sure about that.
We don't know what happened exactly, and so on.
And still we searching all the data that is written in our DNA. We know a lot of things, but still there are more than 80% for us on our level of knowing in technology.
Okay,
but we are on a good way to getting every day more and more answers. Our technology is developed every day. So, okay, those are basic things. So we don't know what God is. So your question, we can make human as God. We still don't know what.
Yeah, we still don't know much. But for now, let's try not to modify humans too much. Let's try to stay human as much as possible for as long as possible.
Because we believe that we found part of the genes that can extend human life, so we can live.
Yeah.
Like say,
I'm saying to everyone, I will live forever, and they don't believe me, and that's my goal. But as you say, we are close to that path.
We're still testing.
Okay.
So,
do you have my email? Okay, so please send me an email when you test it out. So that'll be nice. So the technology that enabled us to actually look into the DNA, into the image of God, let's say, is DNA sequencing.
So, yeah, we can look at the image of DNA, but we find some data that is written in our code. We can understand what is now, and we can see and predict our future from that. So basically, we can see what our life will look like in the future, and our health, how will we develop, and what will we look like in the next 5, 10, 20 years.
Okay.
And it's using right now to predict the illness for the young born children, and also for still not born children. So it's good to know when the child is born what kind of illness will be in the future to start cure it when
in time when
before it's even appear. It's also
so you see the risks, the
possibilities,
the phenotype that can develop
Yes.
We detect the genotype and prevent the phenotype, right?
So it was interesting, also I was with one good Russian guy, Alex, from Rochester Institute for Child Cancer.
Okay.
And it took 4 days to extract the human genome.
How many?
4 days.
4 days to extract the human genome, okay.
Before scanning. And then you scan it, and I received very good image. I say, oh, nice, I can see the human genome, I can see all the parts. And for me, that image was pretty successful, and he started to scroll and he said, okay, in the 4th year, it will be differences in developing a hand. On year 7, it will be that kind of illness possibility. So he already have a very good experience to just by looking on our sequence of genome to know what possibility will be for some situation in our life. So we are basically on the beginning of that. They already have some 7-8 years of experience with
8 years.
Yes.
That's not little, but it's not much. Yeah.
So technology for
DNA sequencing
is pretty new, so it's not older than 10 years.
Okay, so we're 10 years in.
Yes.
So we are on the beginning of the exponential curve.
Also, there are good softwares. We have one that when you extract the genome and have that image,
okay,
measure with ideal one and see the differences and said, okay, on that specific genome is that kind of differences, and here are all the database of the world, scientific research about modification on that specific genome and what kind of result it was.
Knockouts, things like that.
Yeah. So automatically software will give you some possibilities with percentage and all the research about modification of that. So you can basically see possibilities of what will happening.
Okay, that's a pretty powerful software actually, but it's like a precise use case. When we get more data, when we improve the software, and also with maybe machine learning, things like that, the DNA sequencing and the genetics.
So there are two basic things for machine learning in this way. So we need to have the complete genome for more and more people. So that's the reason why the complete genome scanning of all the people.
Okay, so we need more data from the whole genome of the population.
Yes. And then we need more research.
Okay.
So you can have the research on part, and usually probably in a hospital will be not the whole genome sequencing, but just the part that we still know. If you're searching for some prediction of the cancers, you will just take some part of genome that we have so far knowledge on that specific, from that number to that number, some kind of cancers we know that will appear, and you will just test your part. It's cheaper and faster for patient. So we will fill the databases with more research. Also for that reason we need more human genome sequencing and more testing on the patients. Okay,
so is the technology for the sequencing improving? I mean the hardware?
Yes, the hardware will be faster, the resolution will be faster.
Okay, so
and for that reason it will be cheaper.
It will be cheaper. How much? Like what's the price right now for me to sequence my genes?
About 1,000 euros.
Okay, so in the next 10 years, probably 100 euros.
I hope so.
Okay, so that's possible.
So we need more and more people to
probably zero if they take my data from me.
Yeah. So some companies will give you some kind of test for some lower money just to get the data of you, and then those data will be exchanged with some testing companies, pharmaceutical companies, health companies, to see what will be. Also, it's good for developing the cures and for some special treatment like the cancer treatment or
drugs for
but not for the whole population, but targeting just for you,
for my genome, for my
just for you. So personalization of healthcare with developing just personal drugs, personal therapies, personal any kind of modification.
Yeah. I get it. So is there any regulation that's regulating the DNA data, the genomic data? Because it's pretty scary. Someone can clone me if they have the technology for that.
So there are regulations that all the patients' data are secured, but also, if you can see, for the last 2 years, there are a high number of stealing the data from the companies that were storing the DNA data from the patients.
Exactly.
And we can read it, and most of those taking the data will be interesting in the future. We still don't know what will be our ID in the future. Does our genome code will be our ID? Do we making the payment with that, not with a credit card, or just it's good on the black market for some pharmaceutical companies?
Yeah, exactly. So probably for the ID part, probably be like a password that you remember, because no one can really read your mind yet, but can steal your DNA. So,
but still, there are not two people with the same DNA.
Exactly. Okay, so we're like wanting to identify someone. Yeah, I agree. So how can like blockchain? So on the last episode we discussed that, and how can blockchain help us to secure this DNA data or any kind of medical data in the healthcare system? I know that you did a PhD.
Yes, some 3 years ago I have a very good presentation on World Forum for Future Securing the Communication on the internet.
Okay.
And the idea was to use the blockchain. Still, the blockchain regarding all the research is the best platform for securing the internet communication, securing the data. Of course, with quantum computers,
I mean, there are certain.
It will be possible to hack and to see what is behind.
There are certain quantum proof encryption algorithms, like IOTA has implemented quantum proof, but we still can't know that it's quantum proof if we didn't test it on a quantum computer. So yeah, I agree.
So still blockchain is the best solution for securing, and I believe that soon we will use blockchain without knowing that we use it, like taking the money from the machine. So you put your card and put your PIN, and you really don't know what kind of communication is between that machine and your bank.
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. Like you're just having a better experience. That's something that I discussed with a few blockchain guys. They're all focused on the technology, and that's great. But in the end, the thing that will matter is, does the user have a better experience? And if he has a better experience, then blockchain will win the game. And no one will know that blockchain is behind, and that's the point.
Yeah. Also, when we will know that blockchain is behind, because we will give it smart contracts to the specific persons that can use our data. Like you give
we will experience something new, and that is data control.
Yeah. Okay. You will take your DNA sequencing and say, okay, my doctor, he can see the result. And also, I will give that result to some other doctor for second opinion, and for some pharmaceutical company, I believe, because I want they to test some special medical drug for me, and that's all. So
data access, permission granting, and so on.
So far, with our digital communication, it's not possible to do that without blockchain. It's not possible just to give permission to your digital data to specific users.
Yeah.
I would just want that data to be seen by this, and that person.
Yeah. Especially if you don't want to use a trusted third party like a company that will manage the permissions, because then they have all the permission and the point is lost.
So far, when you give somebody permission, they can transfer that permission, but in the blockchain it's not possible.
Yeah, only you have it, your identity, and that's it. Okay, so that's basically one of the most exciting use cases of blockchain in healthcare in the end, except data integrity, what we discussed in the last episode. But let's change the topic a little bit. So we have all this data in databases and so on. What can we do to predict illness and analyze this data? So what are the techniques? What is the most exciting thing here that people don't know?
No, it's not just the predicting. It's what will you do when somebody predicts your illness in the future?
Okay.
Do you will change your behaving or you will continue? So when somebody say, okay, you will live for next 5 years, so you're going to take the loan and spend it or try to modify it and then say, okay, I change my way of behaving and I live for 20 more years or 50. And that's the way. So you will say, okay, those predictions are wrong because you change. But so
just a question. So if we detect a risk that I may die in the next 5 years, but if I change my behavior, I may prolong my life for 20 years. What is this behavior like exactly? Can you give me an example for this use case?
I was testing one software for one very good Russian guy that was developing artificial intelligence software that also taking the DNA sequence as a result,
okay,
and your image, so he will know your real age, your age, like your body look from outside, your blood test, your DNA, so you know, so the software knows also the age from the inside. So 3 levels, and you're putting how your workout, your living, behaving, your walking, your breathing, your medication.
Lifestyle data, basically.
Yeah, also the food, everything. So it also can connect to the network, to social groups, to Facebook, Instagram.
So you can collect social data?
Yes, everything. That software can collect everything, and then,
oh my God.
And then also not just predicting, but also suggesting what to modify in your life,
okay,
and automatically fall. So it will take your temporary picture and also the future pictures and see that
what changed.
What change are you younger? Also your blood test, your everything.
What's your progress, and then modify the plan through the process.
Also your behaving on the network and everything they'll follow to see, because what is good with so-called artificial intelligence, but machine learning, it's collecting all possible data. We are not still aware how many data
what correlates together, right?
So it will took like from your smartwatch, your sending messages, phone calls, when you post something, and it can predict your temporary situation if you want to.
Your stress level, your emotional status.
So from our voice, from our way of speaking, for our taking the breath before we speak, it also to predict several kind of health situation. You're not aware of that.
I just read today that there is like an app that when you speak to the app, it can recognize your voice and then detect are you depressed or not, just through your tonality.
Not just that, but also heart attack,
okay, because
your way of breathing is changing before heart attack.
Yeah.
So when you're taking different kind of ways,
so microphone is enough for that, right?
Yes, but also the good database and that.
So we have the hardware and the software needs to be a little bit improved, and we can only with the microphone detect heart attacks, depression, and all kinds of things.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, that's very, very exciting. And like, is there anything else that's possible? What does data enable us to do and predict something else?
Everything. I think.
Yeah, of course.
So the basic idea was we still learning about ourselves, and the way we want to learn about ourselves to explain our behaving. Because if we cannot explain to each other our behavior, how can you explain to the machine or the computer to copy our behavior? So we getting more and more data, and we start to develop that Internet of Things because we need more and more data. Yes, and more data. So for that big lake of data, we need to classify what data we need, but still we need everything. We think that we need more and more data about ourselves. For that reason, we switch from 3G to 4G to 5G, because we need to transfer more and more data and to collect more and more data that we can learn about ourselves, our behaving, our situation, what we change and how it changed, to see the similarity in the future prediction. And then when we learn as much about ourselves, then we can explain that to computers. So far, they're just replying what we are doing. And
so right now we're just trying to achieve the same level of skill that humans and human doctors have. We are still not in the phase of being better than the best doctors, or are we there yet?
So in some precise medicine, robots are better because some small on micro and nano level, we are not so precise.
Okay.
But in decision making, we are still better.
Okay, so basically, right now we're basically transferring to the topic of deep learning, not really machine learning, because deep learning we need more data, but it can show us something that we didn't know was there, right?
Yes.
So we're not there yet, right? In medicine, like detecting new ways of treatment, new ways of.
In some medicine are, in some medicine not. There was 3 years ago when IBM bought one American radiology company that was X-ray images.
So they were like a software company?
Yes, and they tried to learn computer by predicting the situation in radiology.
Okay.
And the idea was that computer will replace the radiologist doctor.
Yeah.
And after 3 years, the result of
it wasn't so exciting.
It wasn't so exciting.
Okay.
So
still not there yet.
Yeah, still not there yet.
On the path.
For some reason, people are still better in decisions.
Okay, so decision making, humans, precise little things.
And analysis is still better for the computers, they're faster. So if
big data analysis, computers, okay.
So if I tell you, okay, read a 500 book page and tell me how many words that are similar in that.
I'll give you the answer in 2 months. But
but you do it in half of a second.
Yeah.
But if I tell a computer, okay, what was the idea of writing that book?
Yeah, but we will get there, right? Probably, yeah. I hope so. So, I don't hope so for like me, but I hope that medicine will advance because of that.
Yes.
So 5G. 5G in healthcare. We have IoT devices, more data, more sensors, everything. 5G can enable us to have more data, right? Because it can flow faster, better.
Yes, but also to exchange those more data.
Okay, so better communication.
So in 20 years ago, we have the first teleradiology in Croatia.
How many years?
20 years ago.
Okay.
So it was sending the picture from CT.
That's tele.
Yeah, okay. Just because one doctor have a best experience and he can tell from different location around the Croatia, especially for islands or some far away, is the emergency situation for that patient or not. So it was his decision, is it emergency situation or not?
Probably for
he was hearing that. Yes.
Okay.
And it was doing with phone lines and it took I don't know how many minutes, but it was enough to save the life for the patient. So now we have more data, not just one image, but we have more and more images.
You can send the CT scan.
Yeah, so we can now perform the whole operation that the doctor is far away by using 5G.
I have an amazing idea for a software that will leverage this technology in radiology. I'll tell you later.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you know, like you have the best surgeon from one part in the other part of the world, for the other part of the body somewhere else, and they can, over the internet, using the 5G, be together with VR glasses and those gloves that can transfer the movement and perform the operation like they're on the same place at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible.
That's possible right now.
Oh my god. So someone can operate on me from Japan by leveraging 5G.
Yeah, one doctor in Japan, the other in America, and you will be here.
Yeah, but he will be using like a robot hand on me.
Yes. But he will perform that.
And he will be in a VR headset.
Yes.
Connected to 5G, to the robot?
With robot hand. So he will make the movement somewhere in hotel room, but that robot hand will actually perform so actually he will perform it using that technology. It is possible right now.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so that's human decision making, but will robots do that autonomously or not?
I hope after several the operations they will learn and can do the similar movement.
As I already said once, I think that robots are still it's really hard to replicate fine human movement.
But we have one that was built in Croatia together with Faculty of Mechanical Engineering from that robotic department, medical faculty and Zagreb hospital. So they developed some robot that is so far helping with some surgery, and I hope that robot will soon can perform some easy operation by itself.
Okay, so what else does 5G enable us? Sorry?
Rona is the name of that robot.
Oh, okay. Okay. So 5G, is there anything else that can be enabled except like telemedicine and...
Everything. I hope that 5G will monitor my refrigerator at home, my car.
So we're moving away from healthcare. So in healthcare it's mostly telemedicine and...
my car will know when I'm stressed, when I'm depressed, when I'm sleepy, and tell me, okay, please take a rest, don't drive because it will be terrible.
That's like a race between detection of your mental status and autonomous vehicles. So
no, but my watch right now measuring my stress level and my pulse and everything, and for me, okay, now you driving too fast because the pulse is a little bit stronger, or you are too slow and sleepy, and so it's not far away. Just will send more data and more instruments will be control over that 5G.
Okay, yeah. So, what was your... Well, let's go back to DNA sequencing because that was really an exciting topic. There are not lots of people that can actually talk about that. So, what was your first experience of analyzing DNA? How was it like? Was there anything...
I think that every human is interesting about the question, what is our software, especially informatic people, because you know the software of your computer, you know the software, you know how to modify your software, but then you say, okay, but I am the software also. Everything what's happening with me is just the code of the software.
What if the world is a software and this is a simulation?
Well, we still don't know. That everything is possible.
Sure. Okay, so let's go back.
But okay, if God is the creator of everything, that He's a very good hacker and He knows the software very well, and He's a good programmer and front office and back office. He's pretty amazing guy. He write definitely good code, but we are still searching for a part of those codes. And why we are searching to part of those codes? To not just to understand it, but to modify it. Like you change some part of your software on computer to be faster, to boot up faster, to battery exist longer, to save some time and to save space or to do faster. So we also pretty like to do it because every mortal being wants to be immortal or to live longer.
They want to improve, right?
Yes, to run faster, to be stronger, to live longer. So I think that's normal behaving for every human being. So we're still searching about those codes in our DNA and how to modify it. But okay, there's pretty other things we can modify without directly changing the code. Changing our behavior, changing our lifestyle also can improve that code.
Yeah.
But we can see that on that...
Epigenetics, right?
Yes, but we can see that on that software level. So we can see what we changed and the result of that, not as a big picture, but as a direct changing of that code.
Can you explain that?
So, like you have the antivirus software, and you see the result. So something happened, it was prevented and it was changed.
Okay.
On the software level.
Okay.
So not like I have a temperature, then I run for half an hour, take a sweat, and then my temperature decrease.
Okay.
So to see that on DNA level, just to be sure that I'm doing the right thing, and that specific part is changed and not have impact on other part. So when you take some medicine, you're not sure the impact of other levels.
Okay, so right now we're looking at humans from like a macros perspective, but we can look into
the both
specific
picture.
parts.
So the both picture, the big one and the specific pixel. So the whole picture and one pixel.
Yeah. So we're starting to look at single pixels of the human body, but not only right now, but also predicting how will the pixels change in the future.
Yes, we're still learning.
Yeah.
We're still learning about it. So what changing of one pixel will have the result of the whole image, and thus the changing of one pixel will change the pixels around that pixel.
Yeah.
And what color they will change, and what will that be impact on the whole picture. So
yes, the story that the pixels are showing.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it. Okay, so is there anything in healthcare that's kind of not going forward? Like, what's going slow? What's not advancing?
I really don't know.
Maybe that's not a question for you, but let's flip the question around. So, what is like which specialty, in your opinion, will see most advances in the next 5 years? Radiology, because of machine learning, or
Everything.
everything, right?
Everything. We will switch from temporary way of healthcare to personal healthcare.
Okay.
So everything will be done specially for you and not for others, because every human being is unique.
So what are the enabler technologies that will enable personalized medicine? That's DNA sequencing?
Yes, and prediction and software that can very fast develop a specific drugs, medicine, and therapies just for one person. Before that, it wasn't possible. It was very easily to done something that will be good for like 80% of the population.
So, okay, I get it. So
now you can do just for each one of them.
Okay, so in the past we kind of tested everything. We're looking at the macro picture all the time.
Now it's possible to test for
single person.
Yes, for single person, for each human being different.
Okay.
In very fast way.
Okay, so are we going to then use 3D printers for personalized drugs?
Yes.
Okay.
We already use it for printing the organs, some bones,
some parts.
Nose, skin. We are printing right now. So I think we'll start printing more and more. We can replace our organs. We can replace almost everything right now, and in the near future it will be cheaper and available for everybody. But still, we cannot replace our knowledge, our intelligence, our awareness. So, back to theology part. But we will definitely live longer.
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming back to the theology part, to the religion part, and like what's the conclusion here? Like in the end, like what's going to happen with the human race, or like a question like that? Like, what's the conclusion of this podcast interview for you?
It's very hard to give a good conclusion, but we're living in a best time for human civilization.
Okay,
we're living on very fast road, and we need to make the decision very fast. We will live longer. We will possibly soon be with a big question: do we are continue to living on this planet, or we need to switch on some other because we destroyed this one? Then
we're switching to Mars. So.
Yes. And how to do it. So, we will live long enough to survive this transfer, or we will just transfer our DNA. So I think that idea how to live longer and stop aging, and slowly aging and stop aging, to survive transportation to some other living planet that will be good for our next home.
Yeah.
If something happened to this one. So I think that those questions will be soon facing us.
Okay, so transferring to another planet or transferring to another form?
Yes. So are we physically will going there, or just send our code DNA somewhere and pray God, okay,
but in the end,
please let it grow like tree.
Yeah, in the end, we are not really, like, our DNA can be replicated, but that's not such a problem. The thing that actually makes us humans, in my opinion, are memories. So if we can save memories or transfer memories, then we will be more or less immortal. And I don't know how can we do that, or are there any advances in that field?
Still people believe they can live forever in digital form, but what will happen with something happen with sun and some more magnetic EMP will destroy all our data. So it's not about bitcoins or virtual money, it's about all our data. And the people believe when they die they will live forever in some digital virtual form, but there are several questions like that. Yeah. So we are not God if we believe we will live forever in digital form. We are just game characters.
Yeah, I get it.
So, what Second Life? Something like Second Life.
Yeah, Half-Life, Second Life.
Second Life, yeah, Half-Life.
Whatever, yeah. Okay, Ivan, thanks.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a big pleasure and a great interview. I think we have a lot of topics here that we can talk about for days.
Yeah, I hope we will continue someday.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.